So the Atlanta Falcons finished 7-10, finishing last place in the NFC South Division. But this season was different. Why? Because they had a chance to make the playoffs. The division was so terrible as well that they actually had a shot to make it to the postseason and sort of shock the world a little bit. There were some things to get excited about. There were some surprising things about this team that happened this past season, and then there were some things that weren't so surprising. For example, them not putting teams away and blowing leads. They should have started off 1-0 against the New Orleans Saints. They were dominating the Saints for the most part for the first 3 quarters. Blitzing Jameis Winston, they kept getting into the backfield, making him uncomfortable. They sacked him 4 times. They even forced a fumble, so they generated a turnover. And it's so weird to say that, the Falcons defense getting sacks, forcing turnovers. How often do we see that? But then in the 4th, they became the Atlanta Falcons, deviate from their game plan, which worked for the first 3 quarters, playing off the wide receivers, and the wide receivers for the Saints were able to make completions. Jameis Winston was able to get comfortable and get the ball out of his hand quickly, and the wide receivers were able to create yak yards, and they started running free and uncovered. Once that started happening, everything just went to shit. They started making big plays. Michael Thomas came alive, and next thing you know, Falcons lose. What a shock. Then in week 8 against Carolina, PJ Walker completes a 62-yard pass to DJ Moore. He got past the secondary of Atlanta, which didn't surprise me. It's such a shame that you can't go into a Falcons game feeling confident when they have a lead, or feeling confident that if they take a big lead, they're going to win the game. But after that, DJ Moore gets the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, the kicker misses, and then he misses again. The Atlanta Falcons were able to capitalize on the mistakes and win the game, fortunately. But my point is that it shouldn't have come down to that. They had the Panthers right where they wanted them. All they had to do was just play good defense, not get beat down the field for a big play, and sure enough, they did that. That didn't surprise me at all. There were also games where they got behind and they fought back, made the plays to give themselves a chance to win the game and to complete the comeback, but they couldn't do it. So not being able to finish teams and not being able to make the plays necessary down the stretch is still a problem with this team. Still is. Before Desmond Ridder started, I made a video talking about how one-dimensional this offense had become. I think Arthur Smith has done a good job as the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. You can hate on him a little bit and get mad at him a little bit for the play calling that happened this past season. In the video that I made before Desmond Ridder started, I mentioned that the Falcons are the MMA fighter. I used an MMA analogy. They are the fighter who's going to wrestle and punch you and knee you and elbow you while you're on the ground, wear you down, and try and choke you out. And that's what they were. They were the team who was going to run and punch you in the mouth, on the ground, dominate you up front. And they were doing that. They had a lot of success doing that. They're not the fighter who's going to stand and bang and throw spinning elbows and spinning back kicks and put together 3-4 punch combinations and leg kicks and all that stuff. No, those teams are the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals, hell, even Seattle. But there were times where Arthur Smith chose to stand and bang, and he either got knocked out or lost by a split decision by not sticking to his game plan. When he first got hired, I thought that he was going to implement what he had in Tennessee, which is run the ball, establish a running game, create play actions, bootlegs, no matter who was at quarterback. I'm starting to think that he did that because he was playing to Ryan Tannehill's strength and Marcus Mariota's strength. I don't think Ryan Tannehill is a pure pocket passer. I've never really been too sold on him. I've given him credit for resurrecting his career in Tennessee and having success in Tennessee, but I just don't think he is a pure pocket passer to where he can dissect the defense and make plays with his arm. Same thing goes for Marcus Mariota. When he got signed, I was saying it's not going to work. Sorry, Marcus Mariota, as people were calling him, because he's mobile, right? He's the GOAT because he's mobile. So what? The offensive line still struggled to protect him, and he still ended up on his back, which goes to show you that if you are mobile, it does not matter. If your offensive line cannot protect you, you're still going to struggle throwing the football. Period. Going back to Arthur Smith and how well he utilized Marcus's strength, I think he realized that Marcus Mariota wasn't a pure pocket passer as well. And I said that going into the season that he was a guy who was afraid to push the ball down the field and take chances down the field. If he does push the ball down the field, someone has to be wide open for him to complete a big yard pass completion. But Arthur Smith realized that, so he utilized the running game heavily. And there were times where he utilized Marcus Mariota's legs as well by using RPOs and constantly having him in the pistol formation. He would dial up some of these gimmicky plays where someone would go in motion, running in the backfield, and then turn around, go back in the same direction to where they came from to try and confuse the defense. But when it came to passing the ball, that running style came in handy. Drake London was also able to get behind the defenders and find soft spots in the zone so that Marcus Mariota would be able to complete some easy completions. Screens, wide receiver screens, running backs coming out of the backfield, being able to throw the ball into the flat, or just simply throwing the ball to Drake London and try to have him create yards after the catch, do stick routes, just find soft spots in the zones so that Marcus Mariota would be able to get the ball out of his hands quickly. So Arthur Smith did a very good job of playing to his strength, because I think he knew that Marcus Mariota isn't the type of guy who's going to throw post routes, throw drag routes, and throw guys open, go routes, He wasn't going to expand the field. So Arthur Smith kept it simple for him. But unfortunately for Marcus, it didn't turn out so well like I thought, and I wanted to be wrong. I really did. I just knew that it wasn't going to work out with Marcus. Now again, it wasn't all on him. The offensive line still struggled to protect him in the passing department, but this style of play that they were running was going to win them some games. It was going to give them a chance, but at the end of the day, it wasn't going to get them to where they needed to go. It wasn't going to help them accomplish what everybody else in the NFL is trying to accomplish, which is win a Super Bowl. That's not it. You have to be able to throw the football. You need a guy to throw the damn ball. I don't care if he's mobile or not. Tom Brady wasn't mobile, and he had a lot of success. He also had a good offensive line, but I'm just saying, he wasn't some athletic specimen, but he was still able to make it work. Why? Because he was a pure pocket passer. He was a quarterback. Guys like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, who else? Dan Marino, they will always be better than the athletic freaks of nature like the Kyler Murrays, the Michael Vicks, because they were passers. They were quarterbacks. They will always be better than guys like Lamar Jackson, which leads me to this next segue that once Marcus Mariota got released, I'm seeing all these tweets stating that Lamar Jackson is not a Falcon, go get him, bring in Lamar Jackson. If the Falcons bring in Lamar Jackson, it will not work. Okay, I'm saying it right now. It will not work. And if the Falcons do sign him, you better believe I'm going to make a video talking about it. So I'm just going to say that it will not work. All right, so Arthur Smith, I think he's a good coach. You can definitely criticize him for some of the play calling that he made in some of the games this past season. Fortunately for Marcus, it didn't pan out too well. The offensive line has to get better in the passing department. But when it came to run blocking, the offensive line exceeded my expectations. They were creating lanes for Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson, Caleb Huntley to run through. They were manhandling some of the defensive tackles and the defensive ends from the other team. So I think that's something to be excited about going forward with this team. So let's shift to the defense. The defense was okay, which is a lot better than what I expected them to be. Like I said, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. I had low expectations for this team. Offense, defense, low expectations. So they were okay. I wouldn't even say that they were good. They were okay. Too many times on their first defensive series, they would start the game off by giving up points. Against the Rams, Darrell Henderson gets tackled for 2 yards. Runs for 2 yards, but Grady Jarrett gets a penalty on him for defensive holding. They give the Rams 5 yards. Matthew Stafford completes a 15-yard pass to Allen Robinson. He completes another 8-yard pass to Ben Skowronek. Darrell Henderson runs for 3 yards. Cam Akers runs for 6 yards. Matthew Stafford completes an 18-yard pass to Tyler Higbee. Cam Akers runs for 3 yards. Matthew Stafford throws a 5-yard pass to Tyler Higbee. Matthew Stafford throws a 1-yard pass to Allen Robinson for a touchdown. The second time they played the Saints, they jumped out on them early. Alvin Kamara runs for 1 yard. Andy Dalton completes a 14-yard pass to Juwan Johnson. Alvin Kamara runs for 1 yard. Andy Dalton hits Chris Olave for 16 yards. Alvin Kamara runs for 5 yards. Dalton completes an 18-yard pass to Rashid Shaheed. Fast forwarding. Then eventually Dalton completes an 18-yard pass to Juwan Johnson, and the Saints score. After a quick defensive stand by the New Orleans Saints, Andy Dalton throws a 68-yard pass to Rashid Shaheed for a touchdown, and the Saints are up 14-0. Then against Washington, Taylor Heineke completes a 26-yard pass to Terry McLaurin. Brian Robinson runs for 5 yards. Curtis Samuel runs for 2 yards. Taylor Heineke completes a 17-yard pass to Diami Brown. Brian Robinson runs for 4 yards. Taylor Heineke completes a 6-yard pass to Terry McLaurin, and then Taylor Heineke throws a short pass to Brian Robinson for 14 yards. Commanders score. It's 7-3. So that's just a few examples on how this defense would start off games, giving up points, not being able to keep teams off the board so early in the game. And then there were times where the Falcons would have teams in second and long situations, third and long, and then they would easily give up those yards. And next thing you know, it's 3rd and 1 or 1st and 10. But with all that being said, this defense still gave Atlanta chances to win football games. Felt as if the games went on, they started to get a little bit stronger. They were able to make a defensive stand, and they were able to get after the quarterback, create turnovers, creating turnovers when they needed them the most. They would end games by getting turnovers, by getting sacks. And that's what makes a great defense. Getting into the backfield, sacking the quarterback, putting teams in tough situations, taking advantage of those situations, getting turnovers. And that was really nice to see. I was really impressed with the defense. I enjoyed seeing them getting stops more than seeing the Falcons score touchdowns. I want a dominant defense so bad. But they still need a pass rush. They have to get a pass rush. You can't take chances by blitzing, especially when you see guys like Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, Mahomes. I know I just rattled off AFC quarterbacks. Falcons don't really see those guys that often. Maybe throwing a Jalen Hurts. I thought he improved his quarterback skills this past season. But you have to be able to get after the quarterback with just 4 guys. I thought Grady Jarrett was the glue that kept that front 4 together. Without him, the Falcons may go 5-12. Grady needs help. Okay, help Grady. You've got to get another guy in here to help out Grady Jarrett. Hopefully Arnold Ebiketie will be that guy, even though I was hoping he would come in and have a huge impact right off the bat. But it's his first season. He's going into his second season. He's got to be able to develop some pass rush moves. I just saw him bull rush the entire season, and that's not going to work. And only that, he's only, 256? If he's going to bull rush somebody, he's got to be a lot bigger than that. Like Reggie White was 291, but he's got to develop some more pass rushing moves if he's going to be successful. So I'll end the video on this note. Do you think that the Falcons are good, decent, bad, awful? Do you think that they're going in the right direction? Or do you think that they are an unknown? I think that they are decent and an unknown, because I don't know how good Drake London is, even though he had 3 crucial fumbles during the season. Did anyone notice when he had his 3rd fumble that he took off his sleeves during that Baltimore game? I don't know if he'll be that guy who can go up for the 50-50 balls and snatch it from a defender. But the fact that he was able to develop a chemistry with Marcus Mariota, I think says a lot. But how good is he going to be if he has a quarterback that's going to be able to deliver him the football? How good is he going to be when he's going to be truly on the same page with the QB? Hopefully that'll be Desmond Ridder or whoever will step in and have a chance to be labeled the franchise quarterback. Kyle Pitts. What is he? He's still an unknown. What is he? Coming out of Florida, I kept hearing that he's this game changer, he's this game wrecker, this game breaker, this video game-like player. People were talking about him like he was going to be the next Tony Gonzalez or, just a bona fide Hall of Famer. I haven't seen anything yet. I don't know how good he is. I don't know how bad he is. Arnold Ebiketie, I touched on him earlier. What's going to happen with Ridder? And FYI, if anyone wants to hear my thoughts on Desmond Ridder, I made a video about him before the playoffs started. This defense, will it continue to grow? Will it eventually become a top 5, top 10 defense in the near future? But there are some things to be excited about, like the offensive line, particularly in the run department. Tyler Algier, I say he is the running back of the future after one season. When he made his debut against the Rams, I thought he looked a little timid. He looked a little nervous. He wasn't really hitting the running lanes with confidence and power. But as the season went along, he started to get into his own groove. He produced at a pretty high level, making guys miss, fighting for extra yards. I would say that they still need to get another running back, someone who is a speedster. I would prefer a running back that is more known of catching out of the backfield, like a Darren Sproles type of back, because Tyler Algier lacks in the speed department. So you're going to need another running back. And Cordell Patterson, he's been in the league for a while now. He is 31 years old, and he's played special teams, wide receiver, and running back. His body has taken a beating, and I don't see him being around for very long. So they're going to have to get another running back. Caleb Huntley, I thought he played his part well. I thought he played well. He's just a hard runner. We'll see what happens in the draft, and we'll see what happens in the offseason. I think this team is decent, and it's also an unknown. There are some question marks. We still got some young players. Oh, and Troy Anderson. I like Troy Anderson. I was really impressed watching him. He's definitely a guy who can tackle in open space. He can run from sideline to sideline. He's definitely going to have to try to get a little faster. He seemed like the tallest player on the field to me, the tallest athlete that's on the field. So hopefully he'll work on trying to get a little bit more faster during the offseason. I would say that's what he needs to work on. But yeah, there's a lot of young players. Who's going to be the cornerback besides A.J. Terrell to play alongside A.J. Terrell on the other side of the field? Michael Walker and Arnold Ebiketie, Troy Anderson, Tyler Algier, a lot of young players. How are their careers going to play out? What are they going to be? What do you guys think they are going to be? So how do you think this team's going to play out? So I'm asking a lot of questions right now, but that's just how I'm feeling. I just think that plays into the factor of the unknown with this team. There's quite a bit of young players. Are they going in the right direction? Right now, it looks like they are going in the right direction. Now, Terry Fontenot is going to have to make some home run picks in the draft. He's going to have to bring in some guys to have a huge impact on this team. And if he doesn't, then that's just going to set things back again. It's going to feel like this franchise is going to take steps backwards again. So it feels like they're going forward, but now, depending on what happens after this offseason, that'll depend on how this team is going to look going forward. Please like it and subscribe. That is it. I am out.